Hello, everybody. I haven't been here for 2 weeks, but it feels like forever. And today we're going to be discussing sleep problems and PCOS. I'm super excited for this. It was a request from Nene. So Nene, I hope you're watching. And without further ado, let's do this. So guys, hello. Before I start, let me address how I look today. I feel today like I have been hit by a bus. And I was planning to do the whole shebang, take a shower, change a freaking t-shirt, do makeup, cover my acne, do my hair, all of that shit. But since it's a program, since it's a channel about PCOS, I thought, you know what, screw it. I'm on my period today and I feel like I've been hit by a ton of bricks. So because you, my ladies with PCOS, Beth is here today. Hello, Beth. Beth is here today. I'm sure you understand that sometimes a period hits you like a ton of bricks and that's how we look sometimes, you know, and it's okay. And sometimes you can be exhausted and just sip kombucha and pray to get through the day. But today you have super exciting topic because we have sleep problems with PCOS, and I'll be completely honest with you. I knew that it kind of went hand in hand, but I didn't know how popular, I wanted to say, how common this problem is actually. So how often women with PCOS struggle with sleep issues before I started researching it. So I found it super fascinating and actually diving a little deeper of why it is that we women with PCOS very often struggle with sleep problems was very eye-opening to me. Beth is saying, I completely understand. You don't need to dress up for us. And I don't think I will sometimes, you know. As I said, someone else is joining. Whoever is there, other people joining, please make sure to say hi in the comments. I love to talk to you guys. And if you have any questions about today's subject, please let me know. And again, excuse my low energy. It's just poof. It's just hot period day. So let's go through it. So problems with sleep in PCOS are actually quite common. And there are quite a few causes that actually might cause it. And even though I divided them into 4 groups, sometimes they overlap a little bit. So some of them are going to be caused by another. Joanna is joining us today. Hello, Joanna. I'm very happy that you joined us. So we have few causes of problems with the sleep. And actually, it's not only insomnia, it's generally called sleep disturbances. So it can be all sorts of stuff, which we're going to go a little bit deeper in a second. So the first thing is insulin resistance. Again, I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth about them in a minute. Second thing is sleep apnea. Third thing is androgens. And fourth thing is low progesterone. And now the next slide is going to be quite heavy in text, but I really, really didn't want to mess it up. I'm going to put the article that actually comes from a little bit later in the description, both on YouTube. I'm just going to put it on YouTube. So you can see here that what it says that in women with PCOS, the pancreas work doubly hard to keep up with blood glucose levels, which within normal limits because of insulin resistance. and these fluctuations can trigger your body to pump out epinephrine and norepinephrine, which basically prompts your body to be in flight and fight response. So you feel threatened. So basically, in a short terms, I had no idea that it was happening. And I just want to preface that this was not a scientific article. This was actually one of the articles that I have found. And I find it super interesting because I knew that insulin resistance can actually change, our metabolism of sugar. So I thought that maybe what was happening in our bodies because of insulin resistance, we have those drops and highs of sugar whenever we actually shouldn't be having them. But the fact that we are actually excreting then more epinephrine and norepinephrine, those are stuff that are given to patients when, they crash, their heart stop working. Then they actually are given epinephrine. So this is something that is like super strong adrenaline, right? If you ever went to like a dentist and you had, I hope I'm right, I think I'm right. When you get the shot, the numbing shot, some people actually feel like heart pounding. My mom has it quite severely. So this is also epinephrine. So everything that is actually making you pretty much stressed. It works like adrenaline, right? It makes you stressed, so then your body gets the signal, okay, we are supposed to be active now, we're supposed to run away from this danger and not be in the rest, repair, and sleep, right? Because we have fight and flight, and we can have rest and repair. To sleep, to have a good deep sleep, we need rest and repair. And this, in turn, our insulin resistance is actually putting us into our fight and flight response. Now, I'm going to be going at the end of this video about all my theories and now how do I think everything is combining together. But I see that we have quite a few people coming in. So please say hi in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. I would love to hear from you. So what to do if you have insomnia and you think sleep disturbances, and you think that it is connected to your insulin resistance. A lot of people and a lot of studies are showing that, of course, insulin lowering medication and blood sugar lowering medication, rather, like metformin, can actually help, because then in turn it levels our insulin, and it prevents this production of epinephrine and norepinephrine and putting us into this fight and flight state, right? So this is one of the ideas that you can go with. And as a top, I'm always going to go through typical Western medicine because I'm not a medical professional, and I want to make sure that you get adequate care if your problems are severe. The second thing, if you have been watching my videos, is berberine. I added it here myself because it's an alternative to metformin. So, of course, you can use also natural supplements to lower your insulin and to balance your blood sugar. So this is another option. And then, of course, if you haven't seen my playlist about insulin resistance, make sure you go and check those videos, because I really like that subject, and I think I went pretty deep on insulin resistance before. So, of course, healthy diet is super important. Majority of whole foods, avoiding processed foods, breads, pastas, sweets, everything that is processed, focusing on whole foods, or maybe even, which is in the next point, eliminating or limiting carbohydrates overall, even the healthy ones like potatoes, like carrots, peas, beans, you name it. So depending on your body, you might have to go maybe a little bit more or less extreme. And then, of course, at the last point, what I just said, make sure you watch my videos about insulin resistance. Just sip of my homemade kombucha. Another thing, someone messaged me in the comments that you're still waiting for the recipe. I will record this. I will record the recipe for kombucha very, very soon. So yeah, those are the things that you have to take under consideration. Now, the second thing is sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is not the thing that comes out of nowhere, because it can be connected to other stuff like insulin resistance, like indirectly. But let's first say what sleep apnea is. So sleep apnea can actually be shown as first excessive daytime sleepiness, and then you have, so you can have extreme sleepiness during the day. I'm sorry for my focus today, guys. Second, you can have episodes when you stop breathing while you are asleep. Then you can be waking up with a dry mouth or a sore throat. You can have headaches in the morning, and of course, insomnia. And sleep apnea are basically the periods when you stop breathing while you're sleeping. And I'm sure you have seen Oh, Nene is watching. Nene, this video is for you. So of course, this sleep apnea, you have probably seen someone or heard someone sleeping with sleep apnea. Usually when we hear it from a little bit older men in our family, it's very, very popular, not only amongst men, but also amongst men, when they sleep. And basically it's like they sleep, they snore, they breathe, and it's like something is stuck in their throat. And it's like, and then they got kind of micro awakened during the night. So basically, even without you realizing, very often you're waking up because you're deprived of oxygen, because something is pressing on your throat, and those are the tissues in your throat that are actually closing, so you cannot properly sleep. So let's see. Nene saying, thanks, I need it. I hope it will be helpful. So what are the risk factors for sleep apnea? So if you think that you have sleep apnea, of course, the easiest thing to do would be to, if you're sleeping with someone, to ask them to observe you while you're sleeping, because of course it's hard to know by yourself how if you have sleep apnea or not. So you cannot observe yourself sleeping. So that is a little difficult. Sorry, my dad is messaging me and it's completely distracting me. So that is one thing. You can actually talk to your doctor and say that maybe you're suspecting sleep apnea because you're waking up quite a lot, because you wake up with the dry mouth and sore throat, which would actually suggest that you are, breathing through your throat, not through your nose. Then you might have, those headaches in the morning, and you are sleepy throughout the night and all of that. And you just don't feel rested in the mornings either. Of course, not feeling rested in the mornings doesn't have to be necessarily sleep apnea. It may be a lot of different things, but this is something to consider. Now, the risk factors that's why I said that they might be a little bit intertwined, because obesity is one of the risk factors, and diabetes. And as we know, obesity and diabetes are very often connected to insulin resistance. So insulin resistance by itself can already put epinephrine and norepinephrine, but it could have caused obesity at the same time. So we have sleep apnea. So at the same time, you can have both things. You might have increase in epinephrine, norepinephrine, so you already feel stressed and alert. And on top of that, when you fall asleep, you might have sleep apnea as well. And another things that were not actually cited in every single article, but in a different articles about, where the data was taken from a different studies, was also that high testosterone sometimes, which we're going to get to, high testosterone can cause sleep apnea, and low progesterone can cause sleep apnea as well. And those are things that we also struggle with that are actually separated in the next points. Another thing that can cause sleep apnea is alcohol and drug use, which is quite well known. However, apparently with women who have anxiety and depression, like many women with PCOS do, alcohol use and drug use might be sometimes a factor, because everybody tries to self-medicate, and this is important to know that if you are drinking alcohol whatever amount in the evenings, it can actually make your sleep quality worse than better. Now, what to do if you have sleep apnea? Of course, the first thing recommended is weight loss, because that's so easy with PCOS. We all know it, right? However, this can be the thing that might help you. And I realized that with women with PCOS and with women with insulin resistance, it is not that simple. However, it can be done. And as we have discussed before, in majority of people, just different approaches have to be taken. It might have to be berberine, that is going to lower your insulin levels, for example. It might be keto diet. It might be fasting. It might be whatever you need to do to lower those unbalanced hormones, which is insulin, that is actually causing weight gain. That is very, very difficult to get rid of. And of course, a lot of us are also on birth control, which can contribute with the hormones to weight gain, or to water gain actually as well in our body. So there are ways to lose weight. It might be easier for some people, harder for some people, and you have to try a lot of things to find what works for you. And especially that, with all the mental symptoms that we have at the same time, it's not the easiest thing, I have to admit. But for the sake of this video, we're going to assume that it is possible. If that is not an option, or if you need, or if it's not caused by, you being overweight, for example, if your sleep apnea is not caused by, too much weight on your throat and on your chest and on your stomach, then you might consider continuous positive airway pressure machine, which is called CPAP, and this is something you've probably seen it. It's like a mask that is pushing the air to your lungs through your nose or through your mouth. I think you have both options. I saw the ones through the nose. So this is, of course, option. And there are other options that your doctor might help you with and adapt it to your particular condition. But as we know with sleep apnea, a lot of people actually do struggle with that. My grandpa has a horrible sleep apnea, and he has time now to nap during the day, so that helps. But of course, the quality of sleep is also lower. So even if you can fall asleep, your quality of sleep is lower, which in turn, if you're not getting good quality sleep for a longer period of time, it can also influence your heart health, for example. So it is very important, if you think that you have sleep apnea, to have it checked. And then, of course, avoid alcohol and drugs, as I said. Another thing is androgens. So there are two things. And again, the scholars are out talking about how significant that is. But apparently in women with PCOS, generally we can have higher levels of cortisol, and not necessarily general cortisol throughout the day, but the cortisol rhythm is completely out of whack. So our morning cortisol is quite low, when actually the most cortisol should be secreted in the morning. So we get that power to wake up. We actually have low cortisol, and we have higher cortisol than average in the evening, which is when we should have it the lowest, and we should be able to fall asleep. Apparently, it's very common with women PCOS that they have this issue. And why is that? It's because women in PCOS are known to be to have heightened reaction to stress. And I am a great example of that. And I have always been saying that. I don't think that is necessarily, in my case, PCOS, or is it maybe also my genetics? Because I think my family, we're all like that. But it feels like with a very little spark, we get very hyper stressed. And it's not always necessarily that we mentally feel stressed, but we feel very jittery and shaky in our hearts, in our palms of our hands, in our body. Like it's kind of like too much for the trigger, if you know what I mean. So then, unfortunately, it's very common with women in PCOS as well. Then we are talking also about the high testosterone, which can then cause sleep apnea. And for adrenal PCOS, we might have too high levels of DHEA, of cortisol, and of adrenaline. So again, those hormones that are supposed to put us in fight and flight, that are supposed to keep us alert, are actually keeping us awake at night, which is a little bit of rubbish, isn't it? So what can we do with androgens? Of course, first thing, you can go on androgen lowering medication like spironolactone. But then again, you can do gentle exercise, because this is supposed to lower your cortisol. You definitely heard me speaking about this before. That stuff like being out in the nature, for example, looking far away, at the ocean, at the lake, at the trees in the park, whatever it is that is not on the wall, automatically lowers our cortisol levels. Touching the ground, grounding is supposed to help. Being out in the sun is also helping with stuff like that. And also it produces a lot of, positive stuff in our body, a lot of endorphins and stuff, which balance also the negative stressful hormones, right? So although people tend to really underestimate relaxing and going outside because they think it is unnecessary extra thing, we really don't understand how big of a tool that is, and how much, without us realizing, it actually does things to us. If you regularly go outside, if you regularly touch the ground or sand or water, natural water, and you are outside, you will notice that decrease in your stress levels, whether you want to or not. It's just automatic process. We are animals. We have been, hardwired like this, so it will work. Another thing is with gentle exercise as well. Many sources actually recommended yoga, and the reason for yoga is, we all know yoga. We all know that it's supposed to be meditation and relaxing, but not only that. Yoga is focusing very much on the breath, and having few deep breaths is another tool that is automatically giving signal to your body that you are supposed to be relaxed. So if you are ever very, very stressed, you can literally stop for a few deep breaths. And I mean deep breaths, so full. And do it, literally do it 10 times. Stop your super stressful day, and you will see that your body automatically will be like, well, she wouldn't breathe like that if she was running away from a tiger, right? So it will start relaxing your muscles, and it will lower your levels, because it's like, well, clearly she's not running away from the danger. So that's super important. And yoga is focusing a lot on the breath. So because of that, it's also so distressing. It's not only, the meditation kind of yoga, but normal yoga with normal deep breaths included with the gentle movements that actually stimulate our circulation is great for us. And then practicing sleep hygiene, which I'm going to be talking about in the next slide. So what is practicing sleep hygiene? Sleep hygiene is basically avoiding everything that can hinder your sleep. And again, might feel obvious to some of you, but please, if you have a problem falling asleep, try to do all those things, and also take under consideration the things that we were talking about before in the previous slides. So try to avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. or if you can, drop caffeine completely. I cannot tell you how much my quality of life has changed since I have dropped caffeine. I think it was, it was already like 4 months ago. I thought it was like 2. I got sick in February. I think I ate something. So I was nauseous like 2 days. And I went through horrible caffeine withdrawal. But I thought, well, if I, withstood 2 days with no caffeine, I'll go further and I see how I feel. And my anxiety levels are way lower. My anxiety in my head still happens. However, I don't have the pounding heart as much as I did, and kind of like I don't have this physical buzz in my body, which I tend to get. So that's good. Now, no heavy snacks in the evening. That is also avoid alcohol. Yeah, I was talking about this before, that actually alcohol, even though it puts us to sleep, our quality of sleep is worse. Gorsze, I wanted to say in Polish. It's worse. So it's very, very important to avoid alcohol before sleep. Another thing is no heavy snacks in the evening. And, if you have problems with sleeping in general, I would avoid eating late in the evening, like 3 hours the latest before your sleep. I never felt after eating that I got a surge of energy, but it all depends on your sugar metabolism and in your insulin metabolism. Plus, it can give you discomfort, so that's why it might be a little bit more difficult to sleep. So try it and see if it does a difference. Now, no screens 2 hours before sleep. And here I want to add one additional point that I didn't have before, which is very often we have lower melatonin levels than other people. So for us, it's super important not to stimulate our brains with screens, because our melatonin levels are lower than an average person. So we really have to make sure that we have darkness, which comes in a minute. Another thing which I spoke about before is also yoga and spending time outside. I explained that already. But dark bedroom, super, super important, especially if you live now in the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Make sure that you darken your room, and especially if you go to sleep quite early. I know that in England, for example, now I was watching Blackpool live yesterday. It was bright until after 10 p.m. I used to live in Sweden, in northern Sweden, when we had brightness all year round. Or if you're in Canada or in northern US, you might have quite long days as well. So make sure that you get yourself really, really dark room, and maybe even stay in a dark room a couple of hours before. So you give your brain a chance without a screen. So read a book to give your brain chance to create melatonin, pretty much. Another thing is a cool bedroom, which of course in the summer might be a little difficult. but cool temperatures help us fall asleep. It's hard to put down the phone at night. I completely understand. I don't know if blue light glasses really work. Mine are not blue light. But maybe try them first, see if you have any difference. And of course, nighttime mode on the phone is a must. Maybe Kindle, it's better to read books at least. I'm ready to tell me, by the way, in the comments if you're readers. I try to start reading again, and fortunately or unfortunately, I can't, because as soon as I lie down around 11, I'm like, I will read at least 30 minutes or until 12 if I want to. Guys, I pick up the book, I fall asleep straight away. So maybe it is maybe books actually work for sleeping. Maybe that's what it is. They always put me to sleep. I have one question that I'm gonna try and answer. Sorry, can you tell me what do you mean? Is premenstrual associated PCOS premenstrual what? Like PMS, premenstrual syndrome, or what do you mean? Premenstrual what? Other thing, establish relaxing nighttime routine, and this is going to be a little bit more personal. So do something that you like and do something that is relaxing you. Try to think what is not going to stimulate my brain. So maybe if you are, trying to relax, have a bath if that's what you like. Sit outside on your patio if that's what you like. Lie down, have a stretch. But generally try to, I know it's not easy at the beginning, but try to forcefully slow your brain down. And, eventually you will see the difference. I just noticed that we always struggle with getting my room dark enough in the summer. Beth, IKEA, darkening curtains. They are the best. They saved my life in Sweden. You can buy just another layer of a curtain. They're pretty much like plastic, but they're completely blackening out curtains. It's amazing. I love them, and they're not super expensive. I use an eye mask to get darkness. I cannot sleep in eye mask. I don't know how you do it. I keep on waking up and taking it off. Sherry is saying darkening curtains and blinds help for sure. Blinds weren't even enough for me because when I was in Sweden, because you still got enough light through the cracks, and when you have a sunrise at 2 a.m. It will wake you up. So it is not always, but guys, I know I used to live in Sweden, so IKEA blackening curtains, the best investment you will ever make. Such a good idea, but I find them uncomfortable. Same here. Although if I could run and I could show you, which my friend always sleeps in a mask, and I just bought her like a white fluffy one. But still, I can't do it either. Heather, hi Heather, I'm glad you joined us this week. Apart from what we were talking about, relaxing nighttime routine, super important. I really like having a bath. Because I noticed that in the most anxious times of my life, the bath is actually physically relaxing my muscles, and it's just, I can't trick my body then. Oh wait, let's see. I have blackout curtains, but they still let line around the edge. All right. Wow, okay, so this is not full blackout. For me, it was enough. I sleep with CPAP anyways, so an eye mask doesn't bother me. Yeah. Also, so yeah, you do have sleep apnea as well. Yeah, those are the things that you have to get adapted to, unfortunately, if you have really, really bad sleep issues. And I think that's why Nene actually requested this video, because if you have sleep apnea, you will be always tired during the day, and it is very difficult to fall asleep at night. Sorry about that. Right, another thing to try is trying chamomile or sleepy tea. I have my sleepy tea that I just buy in a normal supermarket, and I actually love it. It's very, very tasty. I don't drink it in the summer because it's just too hot. But sleepy tea is actually working very, very well. Chamomile is gonna calm you down. Melissa, is that English? Melissa is very, very good herb. There is another one. Can't remember. I was supposed to bring my tea here. That's my period state I'm in right now today. Guys, brain dead all day. Right, and the last thing I want to touch on is low progesterone, which I had no idea about. That low progesterone can actually influence our sleep patterns. So you can see I took 2 different snippets from 2 different articles. Says hormonal imbalances in women with PCOS can lead to decreased production of the hormones testosterone, progesterone. Progesterone has been shown to have an important sleep stabilizing effect. Second, says many women with PCOS report having difficulty sleeping, particularly in the luteal phase of their menstrual cycles. So the weeks following ovulation. Now, we had a question from Cher, where we were talking about, sorry, I'm getting very distracted, guys. The premenstrual symptoms. So as you can see, insomnia can be a premenstrual symptom, because in our second phase of our cycle, when our progesterone is low, and if you're a person with a low progesterone, it can even influence your sleeping cycle and how you fall asleep, and do you have a good sleep and stuff. So this is very, very interesting. I never knew about that. And Beth is also saying low progesterone definitely contributes to my bad sleep. I take B6 now during my luteal phase to help. How is that working? How long have you been taking it for? Super interested to know. Yeah, and this is a very common thing. As you know, many women with PCOS are also having problems with having a second part of their cycle kind of irregular or short. So make sure you track, by the way. And this is my question to you as well. Do you track your periods? And do you track your symptoms? Because I'm using, not Spons, by the way. I just saw that a lot of people were asking on the PCOS group. I wish I was Spons. App called Flow. Love it. Sorry for my broken screen edges. App called Flow. It's free. You can track your symptoms and you can track your period in it. As you can see, this big orange pink dot is why I'm so dead today. Let me see. Sorry, vitamin B12 helps you to get better sleep as well. Generally, you know what, B vitamins, B1 and B2 as well, are very important in the periods of stress. So B vitamins are very, very important to calm us down overall, and they support our nervous system. So having a good B vitamin is really, really important. I haven't been taking long enough to know for sure yet, but I'm tracking it all now, so I should know for my next period. Another things, guys, that you can actually try if we're going, I didn't want to touch too much on supplements, but magnesium is very calming. It's very calming before sleep. I like citrate, magnesium citrate, because magnesium is very often burned out in our body when we are stressed. So B vitamins and magnesium in periods of stress or in periods of anxiety, or when your body is acting as if you had a period of stress or anxiety, or you have physical stress from insulin resistance, etc. This can always also help a lot. So taking magnesium, a lot of women with PCOS are actually saying that it actually really, really helps. So that is something, sorry, that might be important to think about as well. And if you really have periods where you know that your sleep is not good quality, I mean, take, the natural pills, like herbal pills, not pills. Let's see. My nutritional has me take zinc and magnesium at night. There you go. So I have those pills from Poland called Positivum. They're over the counter. So the only thing that they have is hops, and it's Melissa, I think. So they actually relax you a little bit and help you fall asleep. They're not strong by any stretch of imagination. So I could take it during the day and be just a little sleepy. But they help put you, over the edge if you really want to, if you really have problems with sleeping. I'm always, an advocate of a natural solutions, but if you absolutely cannot sleep, make sure that you contact your doctor. and the doctor actually might help you find the root cause, and it would be better to find a root cause instead of actually taking an actual sleeping pills. Try not to take sleeping pills, because then, like Eminem, you're going to become dependent, and Eminem doesn't have the healthiest life. I'm sorry, it just came to my mind that Eminem was addicted to sleeping pills. From what I remember. Don't sue me. I don't think that Eminem would sue me. Do you? Right. Do we have any other questions? Because I'm gonna slowly start wrapping it up. So, super important thing: check your progesterone, check your testosterone, check your DHEAs. As usual, the usual numbers. Check your insulin resistance, because any of them can be actually influencing your sleep patterns and how well or unwell you sleep overall, or fall asleep as well. Checking cortisol is also a very good thing, and try to get called the Dutch test, the test that you you spit into the tube throughout the day. Nene is also saying listening to white noise can help too. YouTube has many good white noise videos. And guys, meditation can help as well. I didn't mention meditation. I really like the app called Headspace. I'm not doing it now, but I know when I told you about my story before, when I had this 3 or 4 month period when I was feeling really ill, and I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything. I started doing this meditation, and they have actually like a sleepy meditation, and it's what I like about it is that it's quite down to earth. So it is actual tool, and it really, really helps you fall asleep. So they had this, I think, 10-minute sleep meditation. Swear to God, put me to sleep every time. Every time I didn't last till 10th minute, even though I was anxious, even though I was, tired but wired, typical thing with high cortisol levels at night. And I thought I won't be able to fall asleep. It did help me fall asleep, because it sent the right triggers to my brain to help me calm down. Tracy's saying, 4 years ago, I just stopped sleeping. I got severe. I put on Zopiclone. Can you recommend anything? Trying many herbal. Tracy, did you get comprehensive studies done? Do they know why you can't sleep? Are you sure it's PCOS? This is my question, because I am very wary talking about these types of stuff, because this might be coming from something else. There are a lot of other problems they are calling sleep deprivation, bad sleep quality, and insomnia. So if you are not sure that it only comes from PCOS, if it has been a long time and you are actually on medication, did you try to find the root cause? And was there anything in your life 4 years ago that dramatically changed? Did you have any physical changes in your body that were quite strong? I don't know, stress or surgery, or any life emotional events that happened, because they can influence our hormone levels as well on a big scale. Many blood tests done. Okay, good. Many still doesn't answer the questions. Were they these ones? And from which doctor? Because don't forget, each doctor is checking something else, which is so bloody frustrating. Had a scan, my ovaries were not visible. How were your ovaries not visible? That's a good question. What do you mean they were not visible? I mean, they have to be there, right? Or did they do just a stomach scan without the actual internal one? And also PCOS you can have even without polycystic ovaries, funny enough. So the ovaries don't have to be it. The blood tests, great that you had a lot, but I don't know if you had the right ones done. So did you go to endocrinologist, and did they pinpoint after those tests what is the reason? Because if you have that answer, then you can do something about it. Sonographer said they shrink with age. I have never heard such a thing, that the ovaries are not visible at all because they shrink with age. My mom is 60. They can still see her ovaries. Where are you from, Tracy? Are you from US? Let me know, because I've heard stories from US, guys. I'm always baffled when I hear stuff like this, because I have just, even, big YouTubers like Colleen Ballinger, Miranda Sings. I don't know if you know her. She is pregnant with her second child, and I don't know if it's healthcare in US that is just so shocking, But she had so many problems and so many issues, and everyone, when she was pregnant, was telling her that it's normal. And just now, when she has a private doctors that she found on purpose, they actually don't dismiss her. So it's crazy. From England. What is NHS doing? What are they doing? Although, to be fair, I've heard bad stories about that as well. People being prescribed thyroid medication by their GP and not even tested for T. Actually, just yesterday I was reading a story about a person who was testing, because I'm Polish, both in Poland and England, and that it's very difficult to get endocrinologist visit in England as well. Crazy. Oh, you had a baby when you were 43. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I have my ovaries. By the way, make sure that they make the internal, the one that they put in the thingy. They have to check your ovaries. I mean, it's necessary to check if they're okay. If they don't have, every woman has to have it checked if we don't have any cancerous tissues on them or anything. I mean, that's super important. At 43, good to know, Tracy. Very good to know. I like hearing stories like that. I'm 33 this year, so if I ever change my mind, I still have 10 years to have kids. Right, guys, I've been waffling on for way too long. As I said, I'm exhausted today because period hit me like a wall of bricks. So I'm going to be wrapping this up. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for leaving me all the suggestions for new videos. And please keep on doing so. Nene, if you have anything, that's for you as well. Keep on leaving me suggestions for your videos. I would love to make more of them. If you want me to go deeper on any subject that I briefly touched upon, please let me know as well. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification bell and all the gist, and we will be back next week, right? So let me know. Tracy's saying, she said they weren't there. I want them back. No, they're there. They couldn't disappear. They don't shrink to disappearance. Sorry. Beth, thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you, Nene. Of course, I would love to use more of your ideas. Right, guys, I'll be going. Kisses. See you soon and have a great week and take care of yourselves. Bye.